Hey everyone, it's Merja here. Great to be here with you today. Today I'm joined by Val Flynn, one of our celebrated but also certified integration mentors. So Val, welcome to this call. How are you?
Thanks, Merja. I'm great.
How are you feeling today? Are you feeling nervous about this interview?
A little bit. I think a little nervous, but excited to do this interview and share what my experience has been working.
Thank you so much for being here. It's really great.
I'm happy to be.
Let's awesome. What I'd like to do today is just talk a little bit about your work as a mentor and what are the great things about it for you? What do you really enjoy about it? All those kinds of things. But kind of leading up to it, I'd like to give people a little bit of background for in your mentoring journey. Is that okay?
Of course.
Awesome. Okay. So you've done the Integration Mentor program. You've done the full year-long program with us.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to join the Integration Mentor program?
Well, mainly because I had done work with you and I had seen the results for myself, firsthand results of the work that you do, and the idea of doing that work and being able to help others the way that this work has helped me and changed my life so much was really not only exciting, but felt really purposeful for me, like very authentic to my purpose path. So.
Yeah. And you how would you define your purpose as a mentor
I would, well, as a mentor, I would say now that I am a mentor, I would say it is really helping others who are struggling with, I'm not just about anything, but really specifically, if I want to be specific about what I'm good at, I would say helping others to overcome insecurities and the things that past trauma is kind of keeping them from overcoming in life.
Yeah,
currently.
yeah. And you, of course, like all of our mentors, have personal experience of this type of, what you're helping others with. So we don't just do like a general mentoring course and then you're a coach and whatever. It's like you need to actually know what you're talking. Like you have to have first-hand experience on helping others. And I know for yourself, we've talked about before how you've overcome certain things, and even though you're an introverted person, right?
Yep.
And you're very authenticity driven. So what you do has to be authentic, and if it's not, you can't do it. You really can't do it, at least not for very long. That something that's really inspired me about your work and what you do is just how you've overcome so many different things for yourself, now showing others how to do it, and really just connecting with people, connecting with where they are, connecting with them authentically, who they are, where they are. So it's not, you're not in any way pretending to be perfect or having all the answers or anything like that. It's more about the authenticity in people's lives and allowing people to be where they are, because where you are right now is so important to not just where you're going, but for people who are following in your footsteps.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. Yeah. Go ahead.
No,
it feels almost impossible, because I'm so authenticity driven. It feels almost impossible not to, when I am working with the client, to really make that effort to connect with them and really find out where their starting point is. So
Yeah, you can't help yourself effectively. It's not, you're not going to be skimming over the little details that actually tell you what's going on. You can't do that, because you can't make it comfortable that this is actually an authentic expression of what this person is doing. So Yeah. And is that one of the reasons why you chose to do your training with us, or, the whole authenticity piece, or why did you decide to do your training with us as opposed to other coaching courses or coaching programs?
Yeah, for sure. To have experienced working with you and experience the work that you're doing with others, and to have something finally make a difference in my life. For so long, having been, looking for healing, and change in my life that I was unable to find.
Yeah.
I would say that having experienced actual change finally after years and years and years and years of looking for something or someone to understand me. And I think that's a big part of why I initially chose to work with you, and to be able to understand myself, and now after going through the course, to be able to understand others on a deeper level, especially introverts,
Yeah.
has been just, first of all, life-changing for me, and really exciting at the same time to know that I have something to offer people that is really tangibly life-changing, and so, like, if you do this work, if my clients do this work, I know that their lives are going to change in
Yeah.
amazing ways. And so why wouldn't I have, done the course that I know is that powerful and life-changing? So
Yeah, fair
yeah.
enough. And you're super familiar with the saying that I have, that, we're not interested in intellectual entertainment. We're interested in actual change. And
Yeah.
just knowing something is not the same thing as really having learned it, because whatever you do, you have to practice it so that you can fully learn it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
And it's hard sometimes, that work can be challenging, but I know that when I have clients who are motivated, which all of my clients have been, to bring about change in their lives, and they're willing to do the work, the work can be really simple, but it can also be hard.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Well, for you in your training, I'm curious, what was the most difficult aspect of your training, and why? Like, what was the most difficult thing that was you felt like you might have been holding you back with your training, you becoming a mentor?
Mm-hmm. As far as the program went, the hardest thing for me was doing the outward facing work towards the end, the, website, the, starting to put myself out there on social media, and, selling myself as a mentor was very challenging. And, as an introvert, of course, that's going to be the challenging part. But I'm so thankful it was part of the program, because if it hadn't been, and I hadn't been pushed to do that work, I don't know that I would have, because it was that difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're an introvert, so you're unlikely to not be able to do it. Oh, I mean, I'm an introvert as well, but people, with all the integration work I've done over the years, people don't actually think of me as an introvert anymore. Right. But I get it.
Mm-hmm.
And in particular with the outward facing activities, as I was just saying, you might learn something intellectually, but unless you put it into practice, you haven't really learned it. You haven't fully learned it,
Right.
So I have absolutely and very deliberately created this program just to make you do those things, because they're part of your homework.
Right.
How do you feel about those activities now?
So that is definitely still something that is a challenge for me, but it feels, it doesn't feel overwhelming any longer, thankfully, because it is so important. And it's something that feels like it's gone from being an overwhelming fear to an exciting challenge, if that makes sense.
Interesting. That makes complete sense.
Okay,
that
good.
makes absolutely complete. And again, I don't want to go on about how I've deliberately, created this program to be like that, but that's exactly it, because we have to, first of all learn to fail forward, which is something that you learn on this course. But you have to also be okay not being perfect.
Yeah.
And doing new activities takes about 30 times to learn to become even comfortable, 30 times of one activity. So if you're doing like a Facebook Live or whatever, it takes you 30 times for it to become a non-issue.
Right.
If you do one once a week, then it's good guts of a year.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I'm not at 30 Facebook Lives yet, but I'm finally, I might be the first 10. And so it definitely felt, you definitely felt a shift. As you practice something that's hard, it gets easier.
Yeah, it makes a difference. It all makes a difference.
Yeah.
And was there anything about the program, before we move on to your current work as a mentor, was there anything about the program that surprised you?
I would say the most surprising thing about the program was how much I got out of the live calls and listening to other people go through their work. Mm-hmm. I did not expect, even work that I had already done. And there's so much value in hearing how someone else has approached something and the questions that they have around it. And a lot of times it was, hearing people ask questions that I wish I had asked, or that I didn't realize I needed to ask. So yeah, I would say that was the most surprising part, was just the extreme value in the calls themselves.
Yeah, that's interesting that you're saying that, because we do all have the same problems, just to different degrees. So anything that anybody else is going through, you can really you can relate to in some way. Mm-hmm. And then, what you're talking about, they can relate to in some way. And it's like a 360 learning experience. You learn from yourself, your own experience, as well as the experience of others.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Cool. When did you finish your studies? When did we do the final exam?
I finished in December of last year, so 2018. Yeah.
Okay. So you will have been a mentor now for, so now it's August. So let's say you started in January, really,
yep.
because, Christmas and all those kinds of things. So
yep.
we're talking about 7 months of being a mentor.
Right.
How, like, when you finished your studies and when you became a mentor, did you feel prepared? Like, did you feel prepared to start your mentoring practice from the studies, or did it feel like oh shit, sorry, oh no, I don't know what to do?
You have to beep that.
I'm sure our audience will be okay with it. If not, we probably, don't need to be interacting with each other.
I definitely felt ready. Of course, there was some nerves. It was, I think, recognizing that people were now paying me for a service caused a little bit of anxiousness on my part. But once I was on a call with a client, I knew what I was doing. I felt completely prepared, and there was never a thought of, I don't know what I'm doing, or what do I do next?
Right.
It was, I knew I had the tools, and, they were at hand. If I did get to a point where I was, questioning, how do I handle something, or what do I say next, or, whatever the issue might be, I knew it was right there, that I didn't need to worry so much. And I really have never found that I've ever felt unprepared. I feel as though, I would say I do struggle still at times with some nervousness around my self-worth, but that's
Right.
just my own issue. That's not because I'm unprepared. That's just something I'm still working on.
Yeah, in
And,
parenting.
you know, and I know it's going to come with time because it has already, you know, it's already, you know, definitely eased. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we all, of course, do case studies as a part of this program to practice the mentoring. So you get good 50 hours of, nearly 50 hours of, you know, just talking to people and plus the calls, which is another 70 plus hours throughout the whole program. But how did you, so you were fine with, you know, getting on the calls with people and being present and all those things. Did you feel that um, as you were moving from the case study clients into being paid for your services, did you have a hard time with the value, kind of the value? How do you justify your value? Because you just mentioned that you had, you know, self-worth stuff coming up. Did you feel like, I guess what I'm asking is from my perspective as well, because I always like to learn and be a better mentor for my students. But did you feel that that somebody had your back? Like even if you had whatever problem, that you'd still be okay, even though it's scary, but you still kind of go and do it, but you'll be okay even if things don't work out as you anticipated.
Yeah. Yeah. Not only that, I mean, definitely that. I definitely felt as though I could always reach out if I needed help.
Oh, good.
Not only to you, but to the other, you know, mentors that I had been working with through the program. But at the same time, I'm just, again, I feel like I was so prepared. Like I have so much to fall back on as far as how to deal with something if it doesn't go well. I know where it's at in my notebook. I know where that document is that tells me how to take the steps to work through something, which is incredible because yes, I can occasionally have issues with asking for help.
Sure.
But you know, if I need to ask for help, I know it's available for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And so you've been practicing for about 7 months.
Yep.
What do you most love about your work?
The thing I love about my work is watching my clients get excited about the growth that's happening for them, and just getting feedback from them on a regular basis. I get to hear about the things that have gone right in their lives every time. You know, we always start with you know, your wins for the past week, and it's just watching them do this work and experience those wins is just awesome. I just love this work.
How does it make you feel? Like, what's the feeling that you get inside of you when you feel like you've done a great service?
Yeah, it's very satisfying. Obviously, it makes me feel. I mean, it definitely helps with that self-worth issue. It's just exciting it also motivates me to continue that outward facing work because, you know, that is a challenge for me, because I know that I have so much to offer people, that if I can find people who are willing to do the work and want to change their lives, I know that I have a lot to offer them. And because, you know, I've learned how to do this work and how to walk people through it.
Yeah. Can you give me some idea of what some of your clients have worked through that you've helped them through?
Oh, sure. Actually, the first thing that came to mind was an eating disorder, which I know nothing about eating disorders. It wasn't something I was expecting to help someone with, but because this work is so all encompassing, that was something that a client of mine was struggling with. And she, by the time we were done, she was not struggling with it in the way that she had been,
Right.
for sure. Yeah.
Right. And can I just ask, was it
Yeah.
the 4 people within work that was helping her, or what particular approaches or tools did you use to?
Yeah, it was definitely 4 people within work that
So do you
helped her.
think it was her inner children that were struggling with the body image stuff and the eating,
Yeah.
the control stuff as such?
Yeah, control. I would say control and self-worth. We did a lot of self-care, and so meeting the needs of those inner children
Nice.
was really helpful for her. There was, childhood trauma, and so her inner children were very triggered, and she was, that was how she was surviving, and how she was caring for them, because that was what had worked for so long. And
Yes.
it was just a matter of doing some of the 4 people within work so that she understood who she was dealing with, and how to, what those needs really were in her life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was something well, I don't think it's something that most of us know to do in the first place, is
Mm-hmm.
figure out how do you figure out what your needs are.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, that the work can be very simple, but it can be hard, because some of those places are very tender, and
Of course.
we feel vulnerable, and afraid to really dig into. But she was motivated. She really wanted to make change come about in her life, and she worked really hard, and she had some great results.
Nice.
Yeah.
Something that really inspires me about you, Val, in particular, is how you're able to hold that space for people, especially when they're in a really tender or vulnerable space where they can feel safe, not having to be perfect, not having to be in control, not having to push and whatever. I feel like when you're working with a person, that it's almost like you create this place for them to rest, rejuvenate, and discover the things that about themselves that they then start to build on. That's how it seems to me. So I just want to say you're
Thank you.
super inspiring in that
Thank
way.
you. I hope so. I hope I do.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it seems to be working.
Good. Do you have another example of a client that you worked with?
I do. Let's see. So another client of mine, she was single and kind of struggling with getting out and to the community, and she was finding herself really isolated, and she had a lot of regret around some of her choices in life, and felt life had kind of maybe given her a little bit of the short end of the stick, and wishing that she had made some different choices, and she we worked again with the inner parenting, and looked at into what the regret, and what her inner children were needing, and what they were afraid of, a lot of fears, and a lot of just comforting them and reassuring, learning that the choices that she had made for her life up to this point, that there was nothing wrong with them, that we all make choices we regret, and our lives look different than other people's. And she came to a point where she realized that, she began to be really thankful for her life, and the life that she had created for herself, and started, getting out and spending more time with friends and getting back into the things that she loved doing. So it was great working with her, and seeing her get excited, about the things that she used to love to do, and the being outdoors and being active, and going to the gym every day, were things that she just loved doing, that she had gotten to a point that where she just wasn't doing them anymore. And so we needed to figure out why, and to start just doing it one step at a time. And we did it in a way that was really doable, and that didn't overwhelm her from the beginning.
Exactly. And that is the key. You have to keep small but consistent momentum, so that setting small enough goals that you don't give your client something that's going to be too big and then set them up for failure. And then if they can't achieve that big thing, then they make assumptions about themselves. They feel like they can't do it, so they lose the momentum. That sounds awesome. Do you only work with women, or do you work with men as well?
No, one of my clients right now is a male, and he's wonderful. He's just so great to work with, and he's so motivated to get to do this work and to see change. And he has seen so much change in his life.
Fantastic.
His wins usually take up a lot of the first part of our meetings. So I love it. I love, calls with him, because it just makes me feel so great. And I see him excited. And for him, it was so we are also doing, obviously, the 4 People Within work. And it took a little bit of time for him to get comfortable with the idea of what that meant, and it took some time to get a little clarity on having 2 inner children, and obviously, I mean, it's a learning curve. It's different than it's different than anything anyone else is doing.
It's not mainstream. It's not.
No. But now that he understands those inner children, and that how they function in his life, it's really exciting to see him figuring out what's happening when when he's struggling with something and wants to make some changes. So
so you're based on the west coast of US.
I am.
Where do you have clients? Like, do you just work with people on the west coast, or do you have
No, 2 of my clients right now are international. One is in Greece, and another one is in Australia. And I love being able to work internationally. I love, just getting to know people's cultures, and that connection as well is really exciting. Part of the reason I love this work is because I do get to work internationally with my clients, and they are so different. So people from Australia are very different than people from Greece. And it's just fun, it's just fun to, there's a little bit of, it's good for me to do a little research around the culture, and, but for the most part, my clients are happy to explain and share what their lives are like and why. So,
But also with the training, like we have in the Integration Mentor program, currently we have people from the US. Somebody's just finished from Canada. We've had Finland, we've had Norway, we've had Switzerland, we've had South Africa, Australia, obviously. We've had the UK. So we're super international, and also different religions, different ethnic backgrounds. And so what I love about this program too is because we are all humans, we're all humans. That's what we have in common. And all the other differences we can work with. And I personally find it super interesting. I find different cultures so interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, it's definitely a bonus of doing this work is to be so globally connected. I think it's very cool.
Yeah, and it's also great for because how I was just having this conversation with one student actually recently, and she was saying, should I we talked about economies in different countries, and we were contemplating about what's happening in the US right now. And then she was kind of saying I'd feel comfortable if she has investment property in the US. Mm-hmm. And she was saying I'd be more comfortable if I had more international. And I just said, because she's just finished her studies, we're doing her final exam tomorrow. Nice. And I said to her, if you build a business that's international and you're willing to charge in different currencies, or work with people in different currencies, but if you're charging in your own currency, it doesn't really matter what happens in your own country, because if prices go up, so do wages. If prices go down, so do wages. So if there is a downward fluctuation in your own currency, that you're still going to be getting, you might be getting more of your currency, or more of your currency when everybody else is struggling financially, whereas you're set. When you work with people from all around the world, you're never really at the receiving end of any particular currency. So it's a very flexible, very flexible career. Yeah, in those ways. Do you feel so? You finished studies 7 months ago. And you have a certain amount. I know you've had quite a few things going on in your life since you finished your moved house or your moving house and all that kind of stuff. But do you feel like is your schedule full right now? Do you feel like you could see more clients? Are you comfortable with your income right now?
Yeah. So I have not taken on any new clients in the past month or so because of the move. But that will be completed shortly. But right now I'm quite comfortable with the amount of clients that I have, but I look forward to, adding to my schedule once we've made this move, which hopefully will be finished in the next month or so.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm ready.
So if anybody's tuning into this and you really resonate with Val and you go I'd love to hear more about her. See, don't be put off by she's saying she's moving, whatever, because this could be an old recording by the time you listen to it. Just send her a message. Where can people find you, Val?
So I can be found at valflynnmentoring.com or desk@merjasumiloff.com.
Okay, so they can get in touch with you through our organization as well, because we work together in promoting each other's work, because it's so intertwined. And I appreciate it. Thank you very much. But don't be afraid to send a message to Val. What's your own email address, Val?
Is valflynnmentoring.com.
I'm sorry.
Email, sorry. Yes, thank you. valflynnmentoring@gmail.com. So
okay, so you're still using
your to remember. Yeah, I am still using
exactly. Okay, yeah. Awesome. Great. So you can reach Val from there. And I personally, something other than that, what we already talked about, how I feel like you create a special space for people to really relax in, rest in, recover in, and then begin to rise again. Something that really stands out for me in your work, Val, is that just the level of authenticity as an INFP. If people don't know what it is, it's a particular type in Myers-Briggs typology who is just absolutely obsessed with authenticity, and and exploring.
It does feel that way,
right? And exploring the different ways of getting where you want to go. So being open to inspiration and intuition. What I really love about your work, Val, is that you just stay present with the person. It's almost like you have this ability to you're present with the person, and then you have an ability to translate what they're going through and express it to them, and they feel so heard and so valued and so looked after. So if you are listening to this video and you feel like, you need that support, please don't feel like you're alone. If Val or I can't help you, we will find somebody for you. We'll help you find somebody who can really hold that space for you. It's so important that you get the right kind of support that you want. And true to our forum, of course, if we don't feel like we're the right people for you to work with, then we will tell you that as well and give you some other options. So please don't hesitate. Please don't feel alone, and please don't hesitate to reach out. So you've done the Integration Mentor program with me, you're practicing, you're challenging yourself at the out-facing activities, even though they might be a little bit challenging at times, scary at times. You're seeing a lot of clients, you're doing the activities, you're having conversations with people, you're getting really good feedback from your clients. I've seen some of the feedback as well. Even your case studies, just roaring fans. Do you have any questions about mentoring that you'd like to ask me that you think would help people who are tuning in?
Well, I think on that note of the outward-facing work, and I think a good question would be, how long would it take someone to build that clientele to where they were busy, especially if someone's wanting to work full-time. That's a lot of clients.
Yes.
And I know a lot of what, being that INFP authenticity driver, I know a lot of what I see as far as coaches and the way that they're building their clientele, it feels like a hype, feels like does not feel authentic to me.
Sure, yeah, I bet.
And so I guess my question would be around, how would one go about building that clientele without, without still being outward facing, but without all of the hype and the stuff that just feels like, I mean, you know what I'm talking about. It feels yucky. It does feel yucky. And there's so many coaches out there, and I know a lot of them are very busy because they do push the hype. And I can't do
it's
that.
Not right for you.
Not who I am. Yeah,
exactly. Well, the first thing you need to do, which you're already doing, is really respect who you are as a person. So your marketing style is always going to be reflective of who you are as a person. If you're a person of high level of authenticity, then the best ways for you to promote yourself would be around, look at these results that these people have already received from working with me. Is there something that I can offer for you right now? Can you do maybe a gifting of half an hour free session just for people to kind of try you out? Those kinds of things. Also partnering up with, especially when you're starting up in business, partnering up with people who are more established, who have more connections that could help your clients or help you to help their clients. And, you might have other connections that might help them, receive new clients as well. We call this Coco's partnership, where you proactively look for suitable. It has to be suitable, not hype crap, not any of this. Let's just bombard my mailing list with your stuff and yours with mine. No, I can't do that. It's more to do with, you need to find the suitable people within your pool of contacts to forward on to the person who can think a little value out of that interaction. So for example, if somebody comes to me and says, in my sphere of contacts comes to me and says, I'm having a really hard time with this, I'm not feeling heard, I don't know what to do, I'm just going to say, hey, let me check with Val if she's willing to give you half an hour of her time, and for you guys to just talk and see where she might be able to help you.
Right.
Can you see how that just takes out the whole, I'm so great, look at this, I rented this Lamborghini for one day and now I'm standing next to it pretending like it's my own car or somebody else's house, and it's in front of somebody else's house, go like, oh, look at what I got because I'm so successful. The people who fall for that are people who don't have a high level of self-esteem. And unfortunately, this is a challenge. There are a lot of people who don't understand their own value and become a prey for these hype marketers for that. Yeah. I'm not saying don't do marketing. I'm not saying, don't work your value ladder. We don't work with funnels. We work with value ladders. I'm not saying don't do those things, but please understand that, especially as a mentor, as a coach, your main thing is that you are there for the client. You are the client's servant. You are the person who supports the client. You're not the main gig. Your client is.
Yeah.
And so all your marketing has to be around that. And for you wouldn't do it any other way because you couldn't, because you are who you are.
Right. Agreed.
Does that answer your question?
It does very well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Look, I've fallen prey to that hype marketing. I have. And one piece of advice that I would give to any person who's coming to me for, how can I become successful in business is know who influences you.
Yeah.
If you are influenced by people who are not in integrity with themselves, you are likely to become a person who's not in integrity with yourself. Yeah. Now, you won't have this problem because you won't be able to do this for very long. Like you might be able to do it for a while and then you go like, something's not right about this and I can't do this anymore. So know who influences you.
Yeah.
And how long have you and I been working together at this stage?
Oh, I would say it's been a long time.
It's about, it'll be three.
It's close to 3 years.
It'll be 3 years at the end of this year.
Yeah.
So you've seen me do this time and time again with different people, different circumstances. Know who influences you. And I'm not saying I'm the person who should be influencing you. I'm not talking about, because that's the hype again. Now we're buying into this crap. I'm so much more important than you are. No, you're the most important thing, a person. And is this coach or mentor that you're looking to work with, are they going to bring you where you are wanting to go? Or are you bringing them where they are wanting to go?
Yeah.
You are the star of the show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Awesome.
Anything else we should talk about today, do you think?
I'm not coming up with anything.
Okay. Thank you so much, Val. It's been such a pleasure and a privilege to interview you, to work with you, to do all this stuff, to co-create with you. I just can't imagine not doing this. It's such a privilege. Thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your time as well, and all that you've done for me, and all of your work as well. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Val. And I'll talk to you real soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye.